It starts with the wind, then the silence, then the soft chanting of dragon tongue. Barely a whisper at first. Somewhere in the distance, a theme begins to rise, and your memory stirs. What if you could step into Skyrim again? Not just to play it, but to feel it. As if you were loading it up for the very first time again. Before you knew the tricks, before the magic dulled. Back when carrying a torch into the dark actually meant something. That's what Wunduniik Chapter 5 dares to chase. A version of Skyrim that doesn't shout for your attention, it pulls you in. In the moment I loaded in, I wasn't just modding Skyrim, I was remembering why I fell in love with it to begin with. Wabbajack makes installing a Skyrim mod list way easier than it should be. But when the file size creeps past 100 gigs, you're not just downloading some mods anymore, you're stepping into someone's full-on vision of the game. Wunduniik Chapter 5 isn't just a preset, it's like a full rebuild. Over 3,700 mods stitched together with near obsessive care. Everything in it feels chosen, not just randomly tossed in. And the wild part, installing it is stupidly smooth. No real manual downloading, no digging through Mod Organizer 2 trying to fix some invisible conflict. You just follow the guide, click a few buttons, and wait. You don't really build this version of Skyrim, you receive it. When the download finally finished, I booted it up just to test things. Didn't even start a save yet. I just sat the main menu. Something about it already felt different. The fog in the background moved like real weather. The music had this heaviness to it, like it was setting the tone for something slower and deeper. Even the fonts looked sharp, clean, intentional, as well as the background, showing off the Wunduniik logo. I hadn't even stepped into this world yet, and I already knew this wasn't going to be one of those runs where I sprint to Riverwood and forget about it 2 hours later. When the game finally loaded in, it didn't hit me all at once. It unfolded, slowly. There's no wall of color or chaos, no modded look what I can do moment. Just a world that felt patient, like it wasn't in a rush to impress me. And for me, that's kind of the magic of Wunduniik. It doesn't try to win you over with more content, or louder visuals, or constant reminders that you're playing a modded game. It just refocuses the experience. Everything feels tuned towards stability and immersion. It's still the Skyrim you remember, but cleaned up, modernized, and way more confident in how it presents itself. So I stood there, looked around, and the first thing I noticed wasn't how pretty it looked. It was how honest it looked. Sunlight didn't just light the trees, it revealed them. The silence wasn't empty, it was alive. The crickets, the wind, a distant wolf howling. It felt like Skyrim had gone quiet for a long time, and now it was whispering again. This was my first impression. No combat, no quests. Just a world finally given the space to breathe again after 14 years. Before I even opened the map or pulled out a weapon, I was already taking screenshots. Wunduniik doesn't just make Skyrim prettier, it makes the whole world feel more alive, like it's breathing almost. This isn't one of those overhauls that's obsessed with realism for the sake of it. It's focused. Everything feels like it belongs, like it was made to fit the tone of the world, not stand out from it. The lighting is what sets the stage. The ENB here is a custom version of Cabbage ENB, tweaked specifically for Wunduniik. It is paired with Lux and Nat 3, which handle the interiors and weather. In the result, you actually feel the cold in the air. Candlelight makes a room feel warmer, not just look brighter. And when sunlight breaks through the trees, you stop and look at it. Not because you're told to, but because it's just that well done. Then there's the little things that start piling up. Particle lights flicker from spells, glowing runes feel like they just hum under the surface. Even the way torches throw light around a cave makes it all feel more physical. And the grass. Oh, the grass is perfect. Most mod lists either drown you in it or leave the world looking flat. And in my opinion, Wunduniik nails it. It uses Cathedral 3D grass, Volkfanger, and Windy grass together. So every region actually feels distinct. Whiterun is more dry and open, like a tundra. Falkreath is damp, overgrown, and full of shadow. And the Reach feels like it's constantly trying to claw its way upward. Water's had the same treatment. With GKB Waves Reborn and splashes of Skyrim, these make rivers churn, lakes ripple, and shorelines foam like they've got some weight to it. And when the sunlight hits the surface just right, it's almost hard not to stop and stare. Textures are just as polished. Armor, weapons, buildings, the roads, they've all been redone. Sons of Skyrim, unique armors and weaponry textures, and a bunch of smaller packs give the world a kind of sharpness that feels handmade. You'll recognize what you're looking at, but it won't look the same as you remember it. And then you look up. The sky doesn't just scroll, it shifts. Clouds build, storms creep in. Clear nights feel open and rare, like they actually mean something. And just when you think it's all about how it looks, you start to hear it. You start to listen. Wunduniik layers in nearly 60 audio mods, from audio overhaul to Veps, music replacer to Nordic winds, it's all there. Footsteps echo differently on the ground, depending on the type of material you're walking on. Winds howl through mountain passes. The music fades in when it needs to and fades away when it doesn't need to be there. None of this stuff demands your attention, but once you start noticing it, you can't help but stop to listen and stare. Skyrim's always had atmosphere, but Wunduniik gives it structure. This isn't the kind of mod list that just floods the world with more stuff. It's smarter than that. Every change feels like it's there for a very particular reason. To make the world feel lived in, not just more crowded. Towns and cities have been rebuilt from the inside out. With a mix of the great cities, cities of the north, and standalone expansions, Wunduniik doesn't just make places bigger, it makes them believable. Whiterun still holds its identity as the trade capital of Skyrim. Solitude still towers over the marsh, but everything's been brought up to what you imagine those places looked like all along. Take a place like Kynesgrove. Used to be a forgettable one inn, one name, nothing else really. But with the great village of Kynesgrove, it actually functions like a real town now. The layout makes sense, the buildings have character, and there's a rhythm to the place. You stop there because you want to, not because the quest told you to. And then there's Whiterun. It's always been my favorite city, but here it finally feels like the capital of Skyrim's central trade hub. The walls don't define it anymore, the city spills past them. There are fenced-in farmhouses, outdoor stalls, and travelers setting up shop on the road into town. A new tavern outside the gates, and even a few merchants who sleep there at night. It's not just a carriage and a stable anymore, it's like a sprawling town. And inside, it's been completely reshaped. Mods like Capital Whiterun expansion by Kozjak add whole new districts, while GG's impoverished Whiterun by GG Unit gives real contrast between the upper and lower quarters. The Cloud District feels polished, the market streets feel worn in, and you can see the class divide now, and it just works. And then there's Witchrun, which quietly adds just the right amount of overgrowth and foliage, if the city's been lived in for years instead of just existing as some sort of backdrop. All of it feels natural. It's not louder, it's deeper. Interiors follow that same exact philosophy. JK Skyrim, Rin's mods, snazzy interiors, and Tim's houses all blend into a single vision. Taverns are cozier, and shops are messier in the best way. Clutter sort of tells stories now. A mage's study feels like someone has actually been casting spells there, and a forge smells like soot and hot iron, even if it's all in your head. It's not just the cities. Step outside and the wilderness has been given that same care. Forests don't feel overgrown, they feel sculpted. Paths curve with the land, rocks sit where they should. Sometimes you'll stray from the road and stumble across a forgotten shrine, a ruin, or a camp. And for a second you'll wonder how many playthroughs you walked right past it. And that feeling, it's reinforced by one of my favorite mods in the whole list, and one of my favorite mods in all of Skyrim modding in general. Northern Roads. It overhauls every road in Skyrim, hand-sculpted paths, crumbling bridges, detailed signage. Even the routes feel more intentional now. It's one of the heaviest mods to work around, but Wunduniik pulls it off, and I really wouldn't want to play without it. So it makes this list special. It doesn't just add more to the world. It makes the world feels like it was always this way. You just weren't looking closely enough. And that's really fitting, because in the Dragon Tongue, Wunduniik means traveler. And everything about this list invites you to slow down and see Skyrim the way you did the first time. Combat in Wunduniik doesn't flip Skyrim into a different game. It just makes you realize how close it was to being great all along. Fights feel slower and smarter, more dangerous sure, but also more deliberate. You can't just mash through it anymore really. You've actually got to think a little bit about what you're doing. And it all starts with MCO, or Modern Combat Overhaul. Swaps out the old animations for ones that actually look and feel like real attacks. Every swing has weight, every miss leaves you open to attack. You can't just flail your way through a fight anymore, you've got to commit. And that brings us to true directional movement, which finally makes your character feel like they belong in combat. You can lock on, strafe, circle, and all that good stuff. And instead of just spamming buttons, you start thinking about spacing, timing, and angles, sort of like how a Dark Souls fight might go. Precision is what makes it all land. Real hitboxes, less weird clipping, and when you hit something, you hit it. And when you miss, you know exactly why. Elden Ring weapon arts adds a little flair, special moves tied to different weapon types, stuff like spin attacks, lunges, guard breaks, but they're not shoved in your face, and you only really see them if you're paying attention. That's what I like about it. TK dodge handles, well, dodging. It just works, clean and simple. Blocking has a real rhythm now too. And once you fall into that rhythm, fights start to kind of flow like a little offense-defense. Well, honestly, the real game changer is how enemies behave. Wait your turn completely changes the pacing of Skyrim combat. They don't all rush you like a Skyrim mosh pit anymore. They move smarter. They wait. They circle. So instead of getting mobbed, you get moments. That makes every move count. That's what Wunduniik combat does. It doesn't just look better, it feels better. Because it makes every decision matter. And the best part, none of it really feels like it's trying too hard. You're still in Skyrim, you're still your character. Just with a combat system that finally keeps up with you and your skills. Wunduniik doesn't throw new mechanics in your face. It threads them in lightly, until one day you notice the game's been playing different all along. It's in how NPCs behave. Maybe a creature flanks you instead of charging. Maybe it runs. Or maybe it just doesn't act like a Skyrim enemy anymore. That's not a fluke. That's by design. Wunduniik layers in tons of subtle AI changes and behavioral tweaks. Mods like NPCs react to frenzy, take cover, or social NPCs help make the world feel more reactive, like it's watching you back. Bandits don't always rush, guards don't all act the same, wolves might wait or might not. Actually, I had a moment early on that really threw me. I saw a lone wolf and started chasing it, figuring I'd get a quick kill and some early EXP, but it didn't fight back, it ran. Kept backing off until it reached a ridge where 2 or more wolves were sitting. And that's when they turned on me. I managed to take down 2, but the last one, it just bailed. Straight up ran off into the woods. And for a second, I just stood there thinking, that just happened. Even simple things like how people move, idle, or react, they're smoother now. The animations aren't flashy, but they flow in a way that just feels more natural. You don't always notice it right away, and you won't. But go back to vanilla after playing this and it's sort of jarring. Suddenly everyone looks like they're stuck in a stiff loop dance, and Gear has that same quiet upgrade. Wunduniik pulls from animated armory and reforging to the masses, along other, smaller mods. So you'll run into rapiers, halberds, claws, sickles, twin blades, you name it. Each with their own animations and unique combat feel. It's not about dumping loot on you. That's basically just the same sword, but with a different name and maybe a different effect. It's about making every weapon feel different again. And armor gets the same treatment. Sets from mods like Armor of the Velothi, Countess Armor, and the new Armory series are all designed to blend into Skyrim, not break immersion. You'll walk past someone and do a double take, not because it's flashy, but because it fits, and you want their armor. And then there's how leveling works. Instead of just leveling skills by doing stuff, Wunduniik lets you assign points, kind of like Oblivion. Every time you level up, you invest directly into the skills you want to grow. No grinding, no power leveling, pickpocketing behind the inn. And on top of that, there are brand new skill trees. Not perks jammed into the base ones, actual separate trees. You'll see ones like Pilgrim, where the Warrior, Mage, Thief, or Priest, and even Berserker, which lets bearer beasts build out their own transformation paths. It's clean, focused, and like everything else in Wunduniik, never really tells you what to do. There's no tutorial pop-up, no new UI screaming for attention, just a world that unfolds a little differently than you remember. These mechanics don't change what Skyrim is, they change how it feels to live there. In most mod lists, the UI is sort of an afterthought. In Wunduniik, it's part of the experience. Menus are clean, fonts are sharp, and more importantly, everything just works. You can see what's equipped, what's enchanted, what matters, all at a glance. There's no wrestling with the interface, it just gets out of the way. A lot of that comes down to Edge UI, which, I'll be honest, has been one of my favorite newer UI mods. It's clean, it's modern, and Wunduniik makes great use of it. Custom local maps, reskinned wheeler icons, and a smart stat viewer, it all just clicks. More HUD and quick loot take the guesswork out of looting. You know what an item is before you pick it up. Weight, value, enchantment is all right there when you need it. No bloat, no clutter, just information. Race menu is fully decked out too. Better sliders, overlays, tweaks. Perfect if you actually want to see your character like sort of evolve across a playthrough. Even conversations are more readable. Mods like No Compass and Dialogue display enemy level and disposition rank overlays. And disposition rank overlays make sure you always know who you're talking to and how much they like you or don't. Crafting is the same way. It's clean, searchable, no more scrolling through 200 cheese wheels just to find your fire salts. With tools like SkyUI Item Categorizer, armor and weapon icon overhauls, and favorite menu descriptions, everything stays where it should be. There's even Oxygen Meter 2, Contextual Crosshair, and Advanced Notification Log all working behind the scenes to make moment-to-moment gameplay smoother, without ever pulling you out of it. I didn't fully realize how clean it all was until I booted up a different mod list afterward, and suddenly I felt like I was trying to read a spreadsheet in the dark. Made me realize how much time I used to waste just fighting Skyrim's interface. Now I barely even think about it. Wunduniik doesn't overload you with UI changes, it just makes everything better in like a quiet way. When it comes to quality of life, it's the same story. Unlimited fast travel, quick inventory, photo mode, smart hotkey systems, all built in. So your time isn't wasted unless you want it to be. It's efficient, elegant, invisible when you don't need it, and that's exactly where you want it when you do. Not every mod needs to overhaul the game. Some just need to nudge it a little closer to how it always should have felt. And Wunduniik is full of those quiet little nudges. Footprints is one of them. You don't notice it at first, not at all, until a snowstorm clears, and you see a lone trail behind you carve step by step into the snow. Auto-read notes might be the most mundane mod in the list, and I genuinely can't live without it. Pick up a letter, it opens. No menus, no clunky input, just basic human logic finally applied. If I pick up the note, I want to read the note. Actually useful butter churns, and yes, that is the name. It's the kind of thing that sounds like a joke almost, until you're running a homestead and suddenly it's not, because you need that goddamn butter. Dynamic torches adjust to where you are and what you're doing. Improved names just sorts potions and scrolls like a sane person would. And climb water towers of Skyrim? Well, sometimes you just want to climb a water tower, and now you can. Grab and throw is exactly what it sounds like. You can pick things up and toss them. It's dumb, it's delightful, and it weirdly adds character. You start treating clutter like clutter instead of static furniture. And then there was the guard. I was walking past him, not sprinting, not sneaking, just passing through town, when I heard it. A faint burp followed by, shouldn't have had those eggs last night. And then silence. No quest, no reaction, just a man living and regretting his choices. It made me stop. Not because it was particularly impressive, but because it was very, human. One line from one guard, and suddenly the world wasn't just reacting to me, and it was existing without me. Wunduniik is packed with mods like these. Freed prisoners use items, hide quest items in container menus, city bag checks, the coachman carriage guards, all of them answering questions you didn't really have until the game answered them for you. And for more lines like that guard, social NPCs adds subtle depth. Characters chat more, they share small talk, not because it's game changing, but because it makes the world feel more occupied. None of these mods demand particular attention. None of them change how you fight or level or loot. They just add some extra friction where it's missing, and they removed it where it doesn't belong. Take them out and suddenly the world feels off. You might not know why, but you'd feel it. It doesn't matter how good a mod list looks if it melts your rig the second you step out of Helgen. Thankfully, Wunduniik doesn't do that. I ran it on RTX 3080 with an i9 12900K, 32GB of DDR4 RAM, a 50GB page file, and a dedicated 4TB NVMe SSD. At 2K resolution locked to 60 FPS because of my shit monitor's refresh rate, I got a consistent smooth experience across the board. Most open world zones ran without a hitch. Big cities like Solitude and Whiterun caused some expected dips, but nothing major, just the usual strain you'd expect when walking into a visual banquet. Dungeons, interiors, weather transitions, all stable, no weird hitches and no delayed load-ins. So yeah, solid rig, but I don't run anything too exotic. No 5080s in here. But yeah, let's talk about quirks. Wunduniik has been rock solid for most of my time with it, but lately it's had a few hiccups. A handful of crashes while recording, but they were fast, clean drops to desktop. No freezing, no corrupted saves, just gone. Load it back up, keep playing. And while purple faces and terrain bugs popped up while I happened to try and play it, really bad timing on my part, the mod author actually patched those out quickly as of this morning. And they're still working on reducing crashes to desktop, and updates have been rolling out steadily, so it's clear they're paying attention. Still, save often, not because it's unstable, but because any list this big will throw curveballs eventually. That's just modding. What surprised me was how smooth the game ran outside those crashes. No real creeping lag, no weird instability after long sessions. Once you're in, the experience feels pretty grounded and stable. And for a list with over 3,700 mods, it's really damn impressive. A lot of that comes down to structure. Wunduniik runs on a locked load order, proper X-edit cleaning, and a performance-conscious EMB, specifically, like we've mentioned, Cabbage EMB with a Wunduniik edit on top. It's tuned for tone, not for flexing. Skyrim still looks great, but it runs like it respects your wallet and doesn't need the latest greatest PC parts to play. Installation is just solid. You can follow my Wabbajack guide, hit install and let it do its thing. No Discord scavenger hunts, no manual tweaking at 3 AM, just click and go. And that's not to say it's feather light. You'll definitely want a modern PC with a healthy bit of breathing room, but if your hardware is mostly current, Wunduniik rewards you with one of the most stable, immersive, heavily modded experiences I've had in Skyrim. It's one of the rare mod lists that actually feels stable beneath you, and in Skyrim, that's more than just performance, that's peace of mind. As no one wants to crash every 10 minutes. The point of mod lists is to have to not deal with the hassle of self-configuration and troubleshooting. Wunduniik isn't the loudest mod list. It doesn't try to outscale everything around it. It just knows what it is, and that clarity matters. In a recent, slightly controversial video I made, where I ranked the top 16 mod lists for Skyrim to play in 2025, I ranked Wunduniik at a solid B tier. To sum it up, I said its visuals were amazing, but compared to the lists above it, it can lack a bit of extra content. But if you really like the idea of Skyrim remastered with some flavor, then it's the perfect list. Compared to Apostasy, the contrast is immediate. Apostasy is lean, curated, and deeply mechanical. Combat is sharper, builds are tighter. It leans into the overhauls with new spells, standing stone systems, even a fresh perk layout. But it also steps outside the lore more freely, while Wunduniik doesn't. It stays as grounded in Skyrim's world as it can and refines it until it shines. Apostasy feels like a test, precise, cold, deliberate, while Wunduniik feels more like a memory, warm, slow burning, and familiar. Lorem is sort of the inverse, Requiem driven, brutal, and slow. It's a list built around consequence and planning. Your first wolf fight can kill you. Your first dungeon might take hours. It's deeply rewarding if you're in the mood to suffer, but Wunduniik isn't trying to punish you. It's trying to invite you in. Nolvis goes wide. Thousands of mod, expansive quest content, systems reworks across crafting, economy, survival, you name it. It's stable, powerful, and one of the best do-everything lists out there. But Wunduniik goes narrower. Fewer features, more cohesion. It's not trying to give you every option, it's trying to give you the right ones. Then there's Nordic Souls, a list to me that feels closest in spirit. It respects vanilla, modernizes the feel, tightens combat without bloating the load order. But where Nordic Souls is minimalist and tactical, Wunduniik is atmospheric. It wants you to see Skyrim again, not just fight your way through it. So who's Wunduniik for then? It's for players who want immersion without restriction, a visual experience that respects the game it came from, while leveling it up to 2025. It's for those who don't need 20 quest mods to stay engaged, but feel immersed in the spaces between them. Where Apostasy rewrites the rules, Lorem sharpens the blade, Novus expands the table, and Nordic Souls tightens the loop, Wunduniik just opens the door and lets the world breathe. Which is fitting, because in the Dragon tongue, Wunduniik means traveler. We mentioned it earlier, and here it comes full circle. This list isn't trying to rush you to the end, it's built for the journey. To walk the roads, to revisit the world you know bathed in a new light, to see what you missed, and maybe remember why you loved it in the first place. It's one thing to play a mod list, it's another to speak with the person who built it. I reached out to Alex Ausch, the creator of Wunduniik Chapter 5, to ask a few questions. Not just about the mod list, but about the vision behind it as well. No fluff, just a quiet look at the inside mind of the builder.
I can't blame you for having done a tier list. I don't know. I have trouble with people being aggressive, and I've seen a lot of hostility after your video, and
yeah, I got.
And I'm sure I can agree with it.
I got pretty much immediately banned from the Lorem Discord without. I never even said a word in there. One of the content creators in there copyright strike the video as well.
I've played a lot of Skyrim mod lists. Some burned hot and flamed out. Some buried Skyrim beneath so many systems I forgot what I came for. But Wunduniik is different. Not because it adds the most, not because it rewrites the game, but because it remembers what made Skyrim matter. It's not trying to be louder or harder or newer, it's just better. This is a mod list for players who want to feel Skyrim again, who want to walk through the world without rushing, who care more about the torchlight and the wind than loot tables and damage curves. If you ever loaded up the game, looked at the map, and just wanted to exist in it, Wunduniik was made for you. It reminded me that Skyrim doesn't need to be reinvented, it just needs to be respected. And with the right touch, it becomes something worth rediscovering, all over again. If this video helped you, or you just enjoyed the journey, consider subscribing. I'll be covering more Wabajek lists just like this one. So if you want to know which ones are worth your time, that's what I'm here for. You can also support the channel on Patreon for early access and behind the scenes updates, or come hang out on our new Discord, a space to talk Skyrim, modding, and whatever else you find along the road. Thanks for watching. Take your time, the road's waiting, traveler.